where news comes first. This is WECT News at 6. Streaming live on WECT.com and the WECT News app.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Frances Weller.
I'm John Evans. Keeping you and your children safe. Violent sex offenders tracked down today by local and federal law enforcement agencies.
Today, WECT's Stacey Pinto got a look at what it takes to put the cuffs on these criminals. Stacey, how much planning goes into this?
Well, Fran and John, months of researching and organizing goes into these targeted sweeps because it's not just as simple as knocking on doors. Training and a gut instinct are what tracks down these convicted sex offenders. To U.S. Marshals and local law enforcement, tracking down violent criminals is just another day on the job. But for everyone else, it's keeping our kids and our streets safe.
A lot of people think that kicking in the door is exciting. The most exciting part for me is finding the door.
Because finding the criminal at the first door rarely happens.
Sometimes when we're looking for a fugitive, we may go to 10 or 20 houses in a day or a couple days or over months or even years.
Marquise Harrison is the first violent sex offender on their list. And after 4 different houses and a talk with his uncle,
and I swear to God, on everything I love, I've been wanting him not to be here.
Harrison turned himself in.
We're never going to quit, and you can't run. So eventually, we will catch up with you and we will find you.
A few minutes later, the task force rushed over to the McDonald's on Market Street to make their first official arrest of the day.
How come you didn't take care of it yesterday?
Nathan Campbell is cuffed and charged with failure to report a change of address as a convicted sex offender.
Without the task forces in place, there's a real likelihood that these fugitives would still be on the loose.
We got to get them off the street because we praying and hoping they do not commit another crime. And we think the longer they are on the run, the chance that something may happen.
But the task force says their job isn't over until all our streets are safe.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Frances Weller. Tonight, a major effort to track down sex offenders in our area. 5 different law enforcement agencies working side by side to keep you and your children safe. WECT's Stacey Pinto rode along with some U.S. Marshals as they went door to door. Stacey, how many people have been arrested?
Fran, 3 violent sex offenders from New Hanover County have either been arrested or turned themselves in because of the work of this task force. Now, it's part of a nationwide sweep headed up by the U.S. Marshals Service, trying to limit the number of violent fugitive offenders throughout the country. Today's task force focused only on violent sex offenders who have failed to report a change of address. Local officials and deputies made several attempts to verify the sex offenders' addresses, but when that didn't work, the warrants were served and the handcuffs came out. The Marshals Service says it's important to keep tabs on offenders to prevent them from committing any more violent crimes.
And we arrested a lot of sex offenders for failure to register. But we got to get them off the street because we praying and hoping they do not commit another crime. And we think the longer they are on the run, the chance that something may happen. That's just our opinion of it.
Now, coming up tonight on WECT News at 6, you will hear from the men who were knocking on these doors and putting the cuffs on the criminals. Reporting in the studio, Stacey Pinto, WECT News.